Happy new month, everyone. Yes, June is finally here. I can't believe the month of May ran by that fast. I hope you're prepared and geared up for the month. And with that said, welcome to the conversation on TOS Television Network. And of course, we're reaching you from Abuja, that's Nigeria's federal capital city. And my name is Adesuwa Osui.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation today.
Happy New Month, Sagir.
Happy New Month.
I said I was going to beat you to saying that, so yeah. Okay, with that, we'll bring you the quote of the day.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Caplets for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Caplets. This has been Medifact for Panadol.
All right, we dive straight into stories and developments from across Africa, and we'll be starting from Somalia, where Somalia's self-declared sovereign state, that's Somaliland, held its first parliamentary election since 2005, and the municipal election that are 4 years late on Monday. The parliamentary elections were delayed by a dispute among the three major parties over the composition of the Electoral Commission. Politicians have described elections in the self-declared republic as evidence of its comparative stability.
Well, it's a good thing that elections are coming, and I mean, after a very long time,
yes,
and after 4 years of having their, what do you even call it again, council elections, you know. But what people don't also know is Somaliland is different from Somalia.
Somalia.
Yeah, so they are two different countries. Somaliland is, like you said in the report, it's a self-declared republic of just about 4 million people or thereabouts. So yeah, it's good to see peace anyway gradually coming to. At least we know that Somalia itself has not been in the news for a very long time.
Yeah.
So hopefully the democracy we are going to be seeing here will trickle itself into Somalia.
Somalia, exactly.
Okay, moving on, we go to Mali, where Mali's membership in ECOWAS suspended over a coup. So the 15-member Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS leaders have suspended with immediate effect Mali's membership from the regional bloc following last week's military coup, and said authorities must stick to a timetable for a return to democracy. So I think this is as a result of what happened last week when the Prime Minister and the President was abducted, arrested like they said, but I mean it was an abduction. By the
but they were released, I think, the next day.
Yeah, they were, but then again, it doesn't change the fact that number one, it's a violation of their rights. Number two, is an interruption of the democracy.
Exactly.
And number three, it's breaching the agreements that they had, you know, with the Goodluck Jonathan-led ECOWAS summit. Exactly, who went to, you know, discuss and then made preparation and arrangements for an election which is supposed to hold in 2022 in February, you know, and this is he coming back again to sabotage the entire process, saying, look, I'm not comfortable that this person did this without informing me. Forgetting that, I mean, he is the president or he is the prime minister, and it is their duty to the people to take certain decisions, whether you're informed or not. So at what point do you now leave the government to do what they are supposed to do, and that is service to the people? And then secondly, how are we sure that when these elections happen in February 2022, that we will not see a repetition of what is going on? So these are just the issues.
We're just looking forward to a time where African countries just get leadership in politics, right?
Yes.
I just think that's what we're all looking forward to.
We copy a lot.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know, it seems in the middle of copying, the message gets lost, and then we end up copying and then doing something entirely different. I mean, this democracy is supposed to be copied hitherto, but at some point we are seeing something entirely different in ours, because, I mean, which other developed countries or in saner climes, which other countries do we know where, I mean, the military still takes over power? It's just...
All right, moving to the last story in this segment of the conversation. That's the Central African Republic. Chad's defense ministry has accused the Central African Republic of attacking one of its military bases in the south and left 6 soldiers dead. The government in the Central African Republic capital, Bangui, regularly accuses Chad of trying to destabilize the country by supporting armed rebel groups. All right, with that, we'll wrap up this segment of, development across Africa, the segment of the conversation, and then we'll bring you COVID-19 updates from across Africa, after which we'll be bringing you, newspaper headlines for this morning.
Welcome back. It is still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. And do remember, you could be a part of the conversation by following us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you could also like our pages, and also check us out on YouTube and perhaps on our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Okay, it is the newspaper segment, and starting quickly, we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper. And from the very top, we'll start with the first headline there. Nigerians battle for drugs as India shuts pharmaceutical coils. And underneath that, we have the banner headline, Experts warn of anarchy as IPOB locks down Southeast. And we have a couple of riders there. It's vote of no confidence on leaders, Odin Kalu. IPOB working in sync with region's governors, done. And 4 killed in Ebonyi, police station raised in Imo. You could find this and other stories on the Daily Trust newspaper of this morning.
Okay, away from the Daily Trust to the Blueprint newspaper, starting from, the banner headline. 24 hours after abduction of 200 pupils, bandits kill Mopol, 15 others in Niger community. The first rider under there says, Governor Bello jets abroad in search of solution. Death toll in Ebonyi killing rises to 42. 1 killed, 50 houses burnt in Gunmen. That's on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And then just underneath the picture of the day, IPOB activities won't stop Igbo 2023 presidency. That's coming from the APC chieftain. Sit-at-home order cripples Southeast. You can find that story on page 5 of the Blueprint newspaper. There are quite a number of colorful and interesting headlines on the Blueprint newspaper this morning. Get yourself a copy so you can be fully abreast with everything happening in the country.
And on the Daily Times newspaper this morning, we start from the very top, where bandits released 11 out of 200 kidnapped Niger students between ages 4 and 5. And on the banner headline, tougher times as remittances to Federation accounts drop, and that can be found on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. And underneath the picture of the day, we have Editors Convention. Ganduje task editors to be conflict sensitive as NGE Biennial Convention holds in Kano. Opposition, PRP slams APC saying ruling party survives by divisive conflicts, corruption, looting others. Safeguard, NNPC move to safeguard national energy security. These, among other stories, could be found on the Daily Times newspaper of today.
And moving over to the last daily we're going to be looking at its front page this morning. That's the Business Day newspaper, where you have the Business Day monitor just on top of there. And then the banner headline on the daily this morning says, Nigeria continues to snub its human capital in chase of shadows. Beside that one, Riemann Partners Business Day to extend frontiers of risk management. And then the last headline on the Business Day newspaper this morning says, it's a commentary, and it says, is Nigeria on a self-destruct mission? You can read up that story on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper today.
All right, that will be it for the newspaper segment. We'll go on a quick break now, and when we come back, Adesua will be taking you on what's trending on social media. Do stay.
Always remember, Tim and I have reviewed creative design. We really like it, but you deserve a break. You can indulge in a cup of 3-in-1 Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Indulge. Now available in the 450 grams pouch.
Welcome back. It's what's trending on social media here on The Conversation. But before we get into all of that, I'll always tell you, you should be a part of the conversation or the TOS TV community, basically. Follow TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, subscribe to TOS TV Network on YouTube. And of course, you can, stream our programs on www.tostvnetwork.com. Back to what is trending on social media. So the hashtag sit at home has been trending. The sit-at-home order that has I think it was in the southeast region of Nigeria. There's a sit-at-home order in the southeast part of Nigeria, and it has been trending because indigenes of the southeast. The sit-at-home order is basically for the indigenes of the southeast to remember people, fallen heroes of the Civil War way back. And I'm going to just read a few tweets to that regards for you. The first one is from Aloy Ejimako, and he says, the absolute success of the sit-at-home has confirmed the Igbo angst as widespread. That Igbo governors signed on for the first time makes the message clearer. For everything, there's a time to fight and a time to heal. It's time to stop fighting and start healing through dialogue. At Ikena says, Nnamdi Kanu is not even in Nigeria. But if you think people in Southeast don't listen to him, think again. That's hashtag sit-at-home. At Jeffrey Roberts, let's get things clear. People stayed home not because of Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB, but because the East is on fire now, and people just want to avoid the problems as much as they can. Had everything been peaceful, people would go out to get what they need. Stop spinning things. And the last tweet is from Funsho Graphics. It's not illegal to sit at home in memory of your heroes, but it is illegal if anyone tells you you can't. Sagir, over to you. What do you think about this?
I think quite a number of sides to this. Yeah. First of all, a couple of persons spoke from the angle of it's important to remember the fallen heroes. The 1967 to 1970 Civil War was a really pathetic story, and it is only now that a lot of facts about what happened, are being unraveled. I was not born in 1967.
Neither was I.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of us don't really know the history, and if we look at it, even in elementary school, I think history and current affairs stops at the 1967 to 1970 Civil War occurred at this date and ended at this date. Who led it and why? Yes. So there was no one really went into the details of what happened during the war, except when there was, a couple of ups and downs and settlements between the government and the Biafran side. However, it is important to say that you have to remember those who fought in this war. Now, I'm not talking about just the Biafran side alone, but as well as the Nigerian side, because both parties lost men, those parties lost sons, both parties lost people, family members and the likes. So it is important that these persons are remembered. Now, looking at the other side, where someone said, these people are sitting at home because of the current level of insecurity in the Southeast, you can't put that aside as well.
Exactly, you can't.
However, you need to understand that the sit-at-home was occasioned by someone saying this should happen. So if people are sitting at home because of insecurity, it is largely because someone had said, look, we all need to sit at home. Look, it is important to remember our heroes. A lot of them, unfortunately, are late currently, and a lot of them who are alive are too old, and just few of them could actually paint a picture of what happened during that time. So however it is and whatever it is, be it the insecurity issue currently in the region or whatever, it is still important, I have to emphasize, that you remember your fallen heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying the stay-at-home home order is on point?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. That is it for what's trending on social media this morning. We're going to break now, and of course, when we come back, we'll be bringing you the big story.
You won't go shake your body. Instead, they make it calm down. If the farm say it's happy, you want to grow 6 packs in a day. I beg you not to pass your power. You want to show yourself,
Whatever your size, find it with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# now to get the plan that suits you. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. It is still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. And do remember, you could be part of the conversation, by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You could also check out our content on YouTube at TOS TV Network, and also check us out on our website to perhaps read our content and also watch us live at www.tostvnetwork.com. It is the big story, and today's focus is going to be on unknown gunmen and the extent of damage done. We're going to be analyzing some of their activities and how they've gradually been gaining popularity in the last few weeks. Now, to join us on the conversation to discuss the big story this morning is Mr. Adeni Kunu, and he is a social affairs commentator. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation, Mr. Kunu.
Thank you very much for having me, and I say good morning to our viewers.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Yes.
So, sir, what's your opinion on the faceless unknown gunmen and their activities, first of all?
When you say faceless and unknown, it leaves me worried, because the primary responsibility of government is to provide security, and in providing security, you work with a certain level of experts and the rest of it all to ensure that security is guaranteed. But when you also talk about unknown gunmen, and I think very strongly that the word unknown there is a question that many of us should begin to ask why. We've actually seen a situation where people that are protesting and agitating for something are actually crushed, but people go to some communities, they kill, and they are never caught. So the question would be, is it that the security operatives always go to sleep anytime that the so-called unknown gunmen come and wreak havoc? For instance, days ago in Benue, they did not only shoot, they slaughtered like animals, people. And it is also very interesting that for the hours that these evil souls perpetrate this carnage, this evil, no security operative is ever around. They always come in and they go, and they're never caught. We know that they have been accused many times that foreigners are the ones contributing to these terrible experiences in this country. That's the more reason why we should be brutal with foreigners that are killing Nigerians. So if foreigners are killing Nigerians and they are being treated with kid gloves, then I tell you it's an indictment on and off our security operatives in this country. So when we talk about unknown gunmen are a product of the lethargy and lack of accountability and the seriousness that we do not have in our security apparatus, which of course is a sad experience, I must say.
Let's look at citizens' reaction to this unknown gunman. Like in more recent time, we've seen, citizens, people hailing this assailants and saying they are fighting for the people, fighting for them. What's your reaction to this? Do you think they're actually fighting for the people?
Well, I think that when people talk about killers fighting for them, it is because the head has a lot of problems that it is not addressing. I'd like to say, because you people are in the media and you are quite aware of a lot of things, in the past 3 months, I'd like to see when the president came out to address the killing himself and he didn't send Garba Shehu or Femi Adesina to speak to Nigerians. You see, when they talk about leadership, leadership demands a lot and it takes a lot. The president's body language and the fact that he doesn't seem to act when he should act has also contributed to why these killings continue unabated. The truth is, when certain people begin to see killers as their Robin Hood, I tell you, that means there's a problem in the national psyche. And it can only be addressed by the president taking responsibility and saying that if this killing continue, I'll be brutal with the killers. Now, dear, let me tell you, one of the things that I know about Nigeria's police officers and men is that they have the capacity to do what they have to do. But the police itself is obviously divided, where the leadership of the police, which has been called to question many times, will definitely always have to do the dictates of their masters, which of course is the person who appointed the man who is in office. So even if the police is ready, or the officers of the police force are ready to work, there are times they get certain instructions. Now, don't let me bore you with some details that I have, where at times when somebody continues to press hard, you could be told, just stay clear of that particular thing, don't go there. What I'm saying in essence is, for people to see killers as their saviors is terrible. Then at the same time, part of the problem of not holding up to leadership responsibilities is why people like Sheikh Gumi, like Sunday Igboho, like Nnamdi Kanu are being seen as leaders of the people. When non-state actors are beginning to get the loyalty of the citizens, it means there's something wrong with the national psyche. And the problem with the national psyche is, of course, the lack of ability and capacity by the leader to ensure that the people see themselves as belonging to a nation. They see themselves as running back to their respective ethnicities. So let us not mince words, because this is not about politics, it's about human life. President Muhammadu Buhari has not done enough to unite the nation, and President Muhammadu Buhari has the capacity, if he's ready, to crush these killers and bring it to an end.
All right, Mr. Kunu, we've seen a situation like this play out in the past, and I'm talking about the gradual radicalization of the Boko Haram sect. Now, do you think a similar situation might play out with the unknown gunmen?
I have to tell you, it is already before us. And what comes with radicalization is what I describe as a sense of false hope and belief in the person who actually guarantees such effrontery. And when you talk about radicalization, it's entrenched by virtue of the respective ideologies that they often put in people's minds and faces. That is the sad part. Let me go back to how we parent our children. We nurture our children with values with which they grow. And even when our children become adults, most of those values they grow with becomes the foundational sediments that they make use of in dealing with very many people. Most of these gunmen we're talking about are still without a doubt in their formative years. And some of the things that many of them are exposed to in their formative years are such that they assimilate as the best alternative when it comes to relating with fellow human beings, which means some people can be killed and you go scot-free for doing so. That is one. Then moving further, which is very fundamental here, is that the respective institutions of states that should have been there to salvage the particular psychological deploration of the people that should get proper education, proper nurturing. If you look at the institutions of the home, if you look at the social structure, there seems to be something that is not right in the respective structures that usually would complement government effort in building civilized and proper humans. So when the institutions that should have complemented the efforts of government appears to have been abandoned by government itself, then you find out that the aspect of radicalization become a free-for-all thing for them to do. Then at the same time, we can add that there are lots of people who are also sponsoring these nefarious elements for the purposes of politics and for the purposes of some unthinkable advantage that they hope to get within the Nigerian state. So I think that we have to go back to the failure of leadership, the failure of government. Then we have to also talk about individuals in their respective locations taking responsibility for their children or their wards so that they don't eventually turn out as incubus and succubus that will become problems to the nation. So radicalization is not something done just because an individual is somewhere that is making people imbibe terrible values. It comes from the breakdown of the respective institutions. And if you look at it, it becomes even terrible. A situation where leaders do not even see faith in the respective institutions. I am a product of the public school system of this country. I have never attended a private primary, private secondary. My university qualifications were all in public universities, but I've been privileged to be nurtured. I'm not an old man, but the point is I've been privileged to leverage the advantage of the public education system. Many political leaders cannot send any of their children to certain private schools, let alone any public schools. Then let me add this. At the 8th Assembly, a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Sergio Sogun, who is representing Edo North, raised a motion that public office holders, particularly politicians, should be sending their children to public schools. The fellow lawmakers shut it down. They didn't let it fly because they know, I'm quoting him directly because it's something I'm aware of. Honorable Sergio Sogun, representing Edo North, who is still a member of the House of Representatives in the 9th Assembly, raised that it should be done so that we can give public education system attention. They said no. I asked the Vice President in 2016 at a forum outside of Abuja that if the government was serious with electricity, why don't they stop bringing in generators so that they can. The Vice President told me, and I quote, "We cannot do that or else we'll not be able to work." So if the Vice President told me that, and lawmakers told their fellow lawmakers that they cannot say such a thing, they shut it down, then tell me how leadership can help the failure of the institutions that could have helped complement the efforts of government. So radicalization has been made possible by leadership not taking responsibility and not being at the front of fighting against these things that are happening. It is also sad to add that the Greenfield students did not get a single dime from government, neither did they get the needed psychological or moral support. The parents of the Greenfield students, out of which 5 were killed, paid out of wherever they found the money to rescue their children. So when you find out that the leadership beginning from Kaduna, then you go to Abuja, Koba, Akaba, you find, I'm very sorry I have to go that way, you find out that these people don't see that they are responsible to the people. So, and when I saw El Rufai come to more or less talk to the issue of the students that have been released, it was cold, it was without emotion, and everything he did actually was subtracted from the humanity expected of a leader of a state as important as Kaduna to Nigeria. So that is just the reality. Radicalization has become a free-for-all because of the failure of the areas that I've mentioned.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kuno.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes,
thank
you. I'm just looking forward to a time where we have, more proactiveness, in the government and all of that stuff. Exactly. So we don't have to keep having these conversations back and forth.
You see, the month of May was riddled with a lot of bad news. Although at some point we were able to recover a couple of students who were kidnapped, but then what happened? At the end of the month, another 200 were kidnapped again. So
quite sad, very, very
proactivity
sad.
is very important, yes. And unfortunately, I have to add that I don't think the government or the security agencies are being that for the time being. I don't think so. So until these are done, we're going to keep seeing this happening. There are lots of unmanned spaces in the country, and until there's an approach to ensure that these spaces are manned, or there's a sort of there's a sort of enlightenment or awareness that these places, if you go there, this might happen to you or this might happen. I mean, we're going to keep having these cases.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on the conversation this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, but don't forget to join us tomorrow. And of course, follow TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to TOS TV Network on YouTube so you're not left out of amazing content. Also, you can stream the conversation and other programs on www.tostvnetwork.com. My name is Adesuwa Osoyi.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for watching and see you tomorrow.